Okay, awesome. So let's look at some more like real life application, being genuinely interested in others, because this key concept is just, it's so fundamental, so foundational, and it's at like the total base for all the growth and all the development that we're gonna do after this. So I really, really wanna nail it hard so that we can have this one concept nailed in, because it's so powerful, and it's just really, really, really cool. There's this guy, let's go over to the computer, and his name was Edward Skiles. Or Edward Skies. Not Edward Skies. Oh man. There's like this huge building for like all of the math and English, and it's called Skiles Building, but okay, so Edward Skiles. So Edward is like the coolest guy ever from New Jersey, and he was calling on clients for Johnson & Johnson, and one account was this drugstore, right? And so he's got this drugstore, and whenever he went into the store, he would always talk to the sales clerk, who was just like this normal little guy, before he went to the back of the store to talk to like the manager. And he was always, you know, he'd come in, he'd be positive, he'd be happy, and he would say to the soda clerk or the guy who was at the front, or the sales clerk, you know, hey, what's up? You having a good day? It's good to see you, right? And he would just make this connection and just like bond with this person that like, he's here to what? He's here to sell this guy Johnson & Johnson products, right? But like, he takes the time, takes the effort, and puts in the energy to create this relationship with a guy that he really didn't have to create a relationship with. So he's just doing a little bit extra and just putting in a little bit of extra effort to win this over, you know, these sales clerks and make them his friends, because like, he's gonna be here anyway. And so if he's waiting for this guy, like, why the heck not spend his time doing something productive, spend his time investing in a relationship asset and building this connection with this guy who in all reality is a pretty super cool guy. He's just a sales clerk, right? So he would always that over and over and over, just for a few minutes, right? Like people think like you have to go all in on a relationship. Like, it's just a little teeny bit amount of time added up over and over and over again. And that consistent, persistent action is so much more powerful than spending like 10 hours with somebody on a Saturday if you spend no time with them for the next 4 months, right? So he's here like once or twice or 3 times a month. He's just spending a couple minutes with these guys, and he makes them feel important, makes them feel special. I remember when I was at Subway, I mean, everybody would always come, they'd always make their sandwiches. And I would always remember there was always like a couple of really nice, positive, happy people. And they would come, and it was just for a couple minutes a day, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. They would come and they would get their sandwich, and they would stand out from everybody else because they were smiling, because they were positive, because they said please, thank you, and like actually took a genuine interest in having a connection with me. And it's not like a lot of extra work. It took like 2 minutes of their time, but I gave them better service than like literally anybody else, because they were like super nice to me and to my coworkers, and so they got preferential treatment. Right? You'll get preferential treatment if you just put in a little of that extra energy to like make direct eye contact with someone, put your phone away, and say, hey, nice to see you. Smile, say hey, ask them questions. Like, it doesn't even have to be complicated questions, just be like, you're having fun today. That's enough to make you stand out from literally everybody else, because 99% of people are just sitting there completely quiet, not doing anything, which is just absolutely berserk. And you can stand out from the crowd really easily by just sort of taking that first step, because that first step is the most difficult step. So many people, they think about this process and they're like, oh, I gotta focus on that last step, I have to focus on like, you know, what would happen in 10 years if all I did was talk to this guy. Like, that's insane. You need to make that first step and just say, hey, what's up? How you doing? You know, it's good to see you, it's great to see you. Have an amazing day. And that's a step that literally like 99% of people, they just won't do it. And the moment that you can make that first step, you're about to see how powerful it is with Edward. He's freaking insane. So one day, this guy goes to the owner of the drugstore, and he went in, talked to the soda clerk as normal, but whatever. And he was here to get, you know, this guy's order so that he could ship out the order and, you know, give him all his products. And you need to leave. And he said, I don't want to buy your products anymore, which is like insane because he felt that they were concentrating their activities on food and discount stores, and they were destroying the small drugstore. So this is like a small drugstore, and he thought that like he was getting undercut, or that Johnson & Johnson just didn't care about him. He didn't have a feeling of significance because of the kind of store he ran and some of the apparent news or bogus that he heard about the company. Like, he had this internal belief that, you know, oh, Johnson & Johnson is bad for small drugstores like me. And so that limiting mindset, like, it messed up his connection he had with his products, right? And he was like freaking out, and he didn't want to participate in these deals, right? Because he thought that they weren't on his side. He didn't feel supported, and kind of most importantly, he didn't have that feeling of significance. That's just so crucial in any kind of business relationship. If you want to maintain it over the long term, you need to perpetuate that feeling of significance in any way possible, and not do what happened here, which is some news got out apparently where they thought that they didn't care about small drugstores. So it's gonna hurt, their relationships with small drugstores, right? Like that's hard, that's awful, right? And so this guy, he walks out of the store with the tail between his legs, and he's like, dude, crap, I just lost a really good client. I'm so sad. And he drove home for some time. He drove around the town for several hours. And he's like, what in the world is going on? And finally, he decides that he's gonna go back in here, and he just wants to at least, try to explain his position to the owner of the store. And when he returns to the store, walks in, as usual, and says hello to the soda clerk and to the sales clerk, like, as usual. Remember, all he's doing is saying hi to these guys, just recognizing them, because so often, like, nobody even recognizes people who are literally there day in, day out, over and over, just doing their job. Like when I talk about like some of the really close friends I have that work at like the cafeteria who are like all super nice, like literally 80% of those relationships are just me saying hi to people because nobody recognizes them as human beings, and they just see them as like cogs in a machine, when in reality, like, these are people. And if you can just put that emotional connection, that human connection with someone, like, they will care about you and they will reciprocate, because most people, they just look at them, like if you're looking at service shops, you're looking at just like people that are playing a role over and over again. They're like, oh, I want this food, give me this food, check out this food, all right, cool, I leave with my food. That's how like 99% of people are approaching it. And if you just spend like that 5 seconds it takes to say hi to someone before you say, may I please have whatever, it'll totally separate you from like literally everybody else, because nobody has manners. And if you have manners, you will stand out from a crowd like a pigeon in a flock of geese, and it will absolutely change. So powerful. So huge. And so he comes back into the store and he says hi to everybody, and as he walks up to the owner smiles at him, welcomes him back, and then gave him double the usual order. And this guy's like, dude, what the heck? You just told me you didn't want to buy this. What are you talking about? You don't want to, what? He looks him in the eye and he points to the young man at the soda fountain, and he says that after the sales guy left, after Edward left, Boyd came over and he said that Edward was one of the few salespeople that called on the store that even bothered to say hello to him and to the others in the store. He told the owner that if any salesperson deserved his business, it was Edward. The owner agreed and remained a loyal client. Edward never forgot to be genuinely interested in other people ever again. Why? Because he was genuinely interested in these people, in these sales clerks, and these individuals where he wasn't really trying to get anything out of them. He was just trying to be happy, just trying to connect with them because he actually cared. This was a real interest that he had in the well-being of others. And that real interest translated into newfound cash flow and sales for his business, which is so huge. And he realized that the most important quality for a salesperson to possess, for any person to possess, was the ability to be genuinely interested in other people, because that genuine interest turns into reciprocated. And what's so crazy is like this works in every single field that you work in, any single thing that you do. Like you get in an Uber and you just have a genuine interest in like asking about the guy's past, the guy's history. I was in the Uber the other day. Literally all I did was like, hey, you go to Georgia Tech? I'm like, yeah, you went to Georgia Tech? He's like, oh, my family does. And I'm like asking him questions about his history. Like we're in a pool, right? And everybody else, he just kind of like, bunks around, drops them off in places, and just doesn't really care about their well-being whatsoever. But when we get to like where I'm going, we're going to this huge conference, and what's cool is like, he's like, oh, is this the right place? Can I help you get anything? He's giving me like this treatment that's so different than the way he treated everybody else, and like giving me this special treatment and kind of like putting me above, right? So, and giving me that better service. Why? It's because I gave him genuine interest. I put a genuine interest into what he cared about, and he reciprocated that interest, reciprocated that care, reciprocated that value. You're literally adding so much value to other sides that it's just insane. You can get the attention, you can get the time, you can get the cooperation of even the most sought after people by becoming genuinely interested in them, right? How many people do you think are like sending super famous celebrities like notes or emails or whatever every single day? Like it's hundreds, thousands of people, right? But if you want to get time, attention, cooperation, what do you have to do? You have to ask them something about themselves, have a genuine interest in them, and that genuine interest will manifest itself into newfound connections and relationships, because relationships and like everything you could desire, it's all built on this core concept of being genuinely interested in the other person and what they do and what they care about. And the moment that you can do that, everything becomes so much easier, and it's like, it's just such a much better way to get in front of people, and kind of more importantly to connect with them and build those relationships that will literally change absolutely everything when you apply them and then like leverage them to get the maximum output possible from them, which is like just ridiculously cool. Years ago, Dale Carnegie conducted a course in writing fiction, and he wanted to distinguish, distinguished authors like, Fannie Hurst, Ida Tarbell, some really famous writers at the time, long time ago, to come and sort of talk with him and with his group about writing fiction. Now these guys, I mean, they are like top of the line. These are, nationally renowned writers, and so they're like super busy, right? And so he's thinking like, how can he get these guys to come over to Brooklyn and talk to him about all their experiences, and talk to his group, and talk to the whole class, and so they can all learn and they can all grow, and that's his goal, right? And so he writes what they do. They write like a letter, right? So they write letters, and they say that they say that they admire their work. They say that they are deeply interested in their experiences, deeply interested in getting their advice and learning the secrets of their success. And then after they talk about how great they are, and after they say how deeply interested they are in learning from these individuals on a one-on-one basis, right? Like learning from them. He has like 50 to 150 students sign these letters. And he has so he's got like 150 people, and everybody signs it. Now obviously, like, these are some freaking busy people, but they get a letter signed by 150 people. And what do you think that happens, right? Like, they feel like, first of all, they feel super significant, because like, holy crap, right? 150 people sign a letter. But kind of more importantly is they are being praised, and these guys are showing a genuine interest, a genuine deep interest in what they're doing and how they succeeded. And they want to focus on them. It's not a focus on, come to our class because we're the coolest and this is why we're the coolest. No. It's a focus on them. It's an interest in them. Try to focus on what they want, how they can have an impact. And sort of like, most importantly, is like the reason that they succeeded. That's what they want to talk about, which is so huge. And they enclosed a list of questions for them to answer about themselves and about their methods of work. And these guys really like that. Like, who wouldn't? And they literally left their homes, traveled all the way to Dale's course, and they came to give a helping hand and tell them about their success, which is so powerful. By using this exact same method, Carnegie persuaded Leslie Shaw, who was like the Secretary of Treasury for Roosevelt, and George W. Wisham, who was the Attorney General in Taft's cabinet, and William Jennings Bryan, and FDR, and many other prominent men, to come to talk to the students in his courses in public speaking. He got like the most famous people on the planet to come and speak and grow with him. Why? Because he showed a genuine interest. He admired them. He was deeply intrigued, and he had hundreds of people sign these letters that said, hey, we would really appreciate it if you would come. And these letters made them feel so important, and these lectures made them feel so important, and it gave them such a huge feeling of internal satisfaction and drive and fulfillment that it fundamentally changed everything about the way they perceived themselves, but kind of more importantly, the way that they saw others' opinions of themselves, because they were building up their face, they were building up their public value, they were building up their reputation. They'd really have everything that they had, all while benefiting Dale Carnegie and his students as they learn from them, which is like super powerful. So it's a win-win, right? They both win, which is just so cool. That's kind of the power of showing this genuine interest that will fundamentally shift the way that others perceive you, and kind of more importantly, like how they think about, you know, if they should actually do something with you or for you or alongside you in the marketplace. And if you want to like convince them to do something, like the best way to do that is to show a genuine interest, not in yourself, but in them, and they will reciprocate. All of us could be workers in factories, clerks in offices, or even the kings on a throne. All of us like people who admire us. People who admire us! Take German Kaiser, for example. At the close of World War I, he was probably the most savagely, universally despised man on the earth. His own nation turned against him when he fled over into Holland to save his life. Hatred against him was so intense that millions of people would have loved to tear him limb from limb or burn him at the stake. And in the midst of all this forest fire of fury, one little boy, Kaiser, a simple and sincere letter. This guy, you know, he's running away from literally everything, and these guys, they have like pitchforks trying to kill this man. And this one kid, he writes the Kaiser a letter. He's a little boy, and he sends him this letter. And in this letter, he writes a simple, sincere admiration that just glows with kindness. And he says that no matter what others thought, he would always love Kaiser as his emperor. And the Kaiser was so deeply touched by this letter that he invited the little boy to come to see him. And the boy came with his mom. Why did he get to have this opportunity that literally nobody else had? Because he showed a genuine interest in the Kaiser. So he invited him over with his mom. And the Kaiser freaking like married his mom, which is like just berserk. That little boy, he didn't have to read a book on how to win friends with people, because he knew instinctively that to get in front of others and have an impact on others and to build value with others and have relationships and connections with others and get his mother married to one of the most powerful men on the planet, all he had to do was show admiration and genuine interest. And the instant that you can show admiration and genuine interest, literally everything changes, because you're focusing on the other person, right? And that person will care so much more about you, and kind of more like importantly about like your interest, because of your ability to connect with them and to build value with them, and they will reciprocate over and over and over again. It works over. It's so powerful. If you want to make friends, all you have to do is like yourself, right? Go out there and do things for other people. Things that require time, things that require energy, things that require unselfishness and thoughtfulness. And if you keep doing that over and over and over, and add so much value and have such a huge impact on others through your time, through your energy, through your unselfishness, through your thoughtfulness, all of a sudden, they want to reciprocate to you. So huge. When the Duke of Windsor was Prince of Wales, he was scheduled to tour South America. And before he started out on that tour, he spent months studying Spanish so that he could make public talks in Spanish. The Southern Americans loved him for it. Why? Because he put in all this effort, all this time, and all this energy to learn this new language, simply so that he could make this one voyage and this one trip to this group of people and make them feel special, make them feel cared about, more than anybody else had ever really treated them before. And he put in the effort, he put in the energy, and he actually freaking did it. He learned this whole language just so he could talk to this new group of people. And because of that, they felt very important, and they got a whole lot of value from it. And because of that, what do you think happened? They reciprocated. They gave back to him, and they were super supportive of him. They loved his campaign because they saw that he honestly tried and he put in his full effort. And because of that, he understood that he deserved to succeed, and they allowed him to succeed. They pushed him to success. Like in most cases, with whatever you're doing, like other people often hold the keys to your success. And if you can just win over other people, all of a sudden, like, you're gonna instantly have like a huge influx of success and of growth and of impact and of development. And so often, if you can just master this ability to add a ton of value to other people's lives, all of a sudden, it is so much easier to reach that next level and get to that next success that you desire. You can freaking make it happen by connecting with people that are gonna allow you to make it happen, which is so huge. It's awesome. For years, you know, Carnegie made it a point to find out the birthdays of like all of his friends, which is just like, oh my god, you guys gotta do this. It's so huge. He would like he didn't have the foggiest bit of faith in astrology. So he asked them, you know, if they believed that someone's birthday has something to do with his character, disposition, just a little bit of a ruse to get their birthday out of them. And so once he figured out what their birthday was, he kept repeating it over and over and over again. And the minute their back was turned, he wrote down the name and the birthday. And then he later transferred it into this huge birthday book. Now obviously you guys can use like some kind of calendar or something now, just like, because he was writing this a long time ago. But like, find out when people's birthdays are, and then like the instant that they turn their back, like every single time you learn a new birthday, you should get that in your calendar repeating every single year. Because like literally very small percentage of people's friends like actually remember their birthday without like being told about it. And so if you can like be that one person who gives them a call and says happy birthday. I have this one friend, and she called someone on their birthday to wish them happy birthday. She was the only person that, it was like an older guy, so he didn't really have a whole lot of family. Only person that called him on his birthday. How do you think that made him feel? Literally, like, he cared more about her on that day than anybody else on the whole planet, because she was the only one who added a ridiculous amount of value into his life, which is just huge. You're showing a genuine interest in others. You're saying, wow, you know, I care about you. I remember your birthday. You know, you're a cool guy, and I want you to have a fun year. And so often, like, the vast majority of people that you know, or that this person knows, or that others know, they just don't remember, or they don't care enough. Pick up the phone and spend 2 minutes singing happy birthday to somebody. And yet the moment you do, it fundamentally shifts every relationship you have. Like, think about it like this, right? Like, if you're always remembering, you know, your parents' birthday or your sibling's birthday or whatever, right? And so you're always calling people that you're closest to, and you're always telling people you're closest to happy birthday. So if you want to get close to others, like, why wouldn't you do the exact same thing for them and always remember what their birthdays are and always give them a call on their birthday? Because like, you can turn the people that you work with into a family, and all that starts very simply just by remembering people's birthday. Giving them a call, maybe sending them a little gift. Make them happy and express a genuine interest in their well-being and their success. It's just huge. It's so cool. And then after he wrote down everybody's names in his birthday book, at the beginning of the year, he had birthday dates scheduled out in his calendar, and they came to his attention automatically. And when the day arrived, there was always a letter or a telegram, because they didn't really have, like, you know, a lot of technology back then. He'd always send people letters and be like, happy birthday. And it was such a huge hit, because often he was the only person on the planet who remembered their birthday, sent them a letter, gave them a telegram, and actually made them feel insignificant and important and cared about and interested in. So if you want to make friends, all you have to do is greet people with like total and complete animation and enthusiasm, and express this real interest and actually freaking care about them. So huge. And it just kind of all stems from like coming back to this key foundational concept, freaking making it happen. It's just so powerful, so huge. And expressing a genuine interest in others is the key basic concept, the foundation for so much. And the moment you can do it, though, you can really care about others. Like, all of a sudden, you know, gratitude would change everything, right? If you're just thankful for others, like, that is so powerful. But kind of more importantly, is you're going to add so much value to their lives that they just can't help but return that back to you. And it's just this self-fulfilling prophecy and this continuous cycle over and over again as you continue to grow together towards that better future. It's so huge. And just ridiculously powerful. So I hope you guys get a ton of value from this module. Go out there, apply it, absolutely crush it, and I will see you in the next module. Thank you very much. Bye.